What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trash Film Home Video, and today I have a review for you. Um, All American Murder from Vinegar Syndrome. And yes, that is Christopher Walken. Let me show you the back here. That is one of the greatest images they put on the back of one of these slips. Here is the alternate cover, which is very cheap 90s VHS to me. Man, this thing is something else. So basically, we have this kid here. I forgot the actor's name. He is sort of like, I think they're supposed to be in college, but he has had some past problems with schools, and the film opens with him actually in jail, and he's getting out of jail, and his dad picks him up and basically tells him what a disappointment he is, how much he's let him down and all that. Anyway, he starts in a new place and meets Miss Josie Bassett there, which Josie Bassett was in Melrose Place. Most people know her from, I wrote some other things down here. Oh, a movie that I recently reviewed from Vinegar Syndrome, Hitcher in the Dark. Anyway, he meets Josie Bassett, and she's like your all-American girl, I think she's like the head of a sorority. She is a cheerleader. She's got good grades. She's doing well in school. She's got all these extracurricular activities she's doing. And he totally falls for this girl. Head over heels. Falls for this girl. And this is when we get sort of like... This movie has a very 90210 90s TV episode feel to it. That's when we get a lot of this stuff. When they first meet and when they start going out, and he is supposed to meet her on her break while she's studying or something, and he comes to, I think it's the library, and she is running outside on fire. She's on fire, and she falls over this railing, dead. So he tries to get help. Some people, a crowd starts to kind of come around, and first thing they do is they point fingers at him. It's him. So cops show up, they've got him, and they're basically like, oh no, he's dead to rights. We've got him. This is the guy. We looked up his past. He has been in all of this trouble. He's a bad seed. And then we get Mr. Walken coming in. Now, his introduction to the movie is hilarious, and some really great Walken stuff. The man basically shows up at a gas station where this guy has got somebody a hostage. Sorry, I'm going to talk about this movie a lot more, because it's something. He shows up, and so maybe spoilery. Not spoilery, but I'm going to talk about a lot. He shows up with the guy who's inside, his girlfriend. Basically gets on a megaphone. Basically gets onto a megaphone and tells the guy inside, hey, while you've been in there doing that, I've been with your girlfriend. Yeah, and what you think we've been doing? Yeah, we've been doing that all day, this way, that way. Basically gets the guy so angry that he comes out to attack him. That's how we're introduced to Christopher Walken in this movie, and it's fantastic. Christopher Walken's not so sure that this kid has done anything. So basically what he does, but he knows the system, you can tell, and he knows that these guys are going to try to nail him if they don't figure it out. So Christopher Walken is basically like, all right, kid, your dad freed you, put you out on bail. You got 24 hours to prove that you didn't do this. or I'm going to nail you. And that is the plot of our film. Figure out who actually killed this girl. The great thing about this movie is that, like I said, it's like part 90s 90210 episode. If that episode of 90210 was really sleazy and kind of violent, this turns into kind of a murder mystery, almost Giallo-esque near the end. For about an hour, not a whole lot really happens besides the initial murder, and him trying to figure out how to even go about it, because everybody on campus thinks he's done it. So no one really wants to help him. They're kind of afraid of him. So he has to go about trying to figure out who's going to be on his side at least. And then after about that hour mark, murders just start piling up. This thing sort of just opens up after about an hour. And, I mean, we get drills. We get people eviscerated. And they're pretty, they're pretty decent kills for, like, a slasher movie. I feel like this is more in the vein of a Giallo than it is in the vein of a slasher movie, because the mystery is all part of it. The mystery of who the killer is hyped up. Not only does this poor kid have to solve his own murder, but the person who is doing it is framing him every step of the way. We get some great stuff, like it's this dude. Listen, Decker is Christopher Walken's character. Meet me in my apartment. Like, it's him, and I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. Well, they show up, and the kid's dead in his apartment with a knife hanging out of his back. And we get this great line, which is, well, I guess he isn't the murderer. Just a stab in the dark. We get shit like that. Once it really starts to pick up, the movie was interesting anyway, but some of the 90210-esque stuff kind of, it's so cheesy and so, like, you can tell that this, as you're watching it, it feels kind of like a TV movie, but a TV movie with nudity and violence and murder, like, but it still feels kind of like a TV movie some of the time. Like, when he initially finds the person that's going to help him out a little bit, there's a scene in the laundry room where they're, like, bonding and talking about their lives and just sort of shooting the shit, as it were. And this music that plays over it is such a television 90s, it's so cheesy. And that kind of will stop the movie in its tracks. You kind of get going with, like, the mystery of it, and then we'll have, like, a scene like that kind of, like, is jolting. And then we have also Joanna Cassidy here, who plays the dean's wife. Joanna Cassidy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm trying to remember the stuff I wrote down without looking. She was in 6 Feet Under, Blade Runner, Ghosts of Mars. She was also on Melrose Place. She did a lot of TV. Richard Kind is also one of the cops who's trying to nail the kid. And he was on a lot of television. I remember him most from Curb Your Enthusiasm. But he's been in a lot of stuff. I think he did a voice for Inside Out. A lot of television. He's on Disjointed. He played, like, the FBI agent, or the ATF agent at the end. If you've ever seen Disjointed, it's a comedy where, what's her name? I've forgotten her name, and I can't believe it. I love this actress. Anyway, she runs a dispensary. It's really funny. He's on that show. You got a lot of people in here that went on to do, a lot of stuff. I mean, Christopher Walken. We get some of the best Christopher Walken stuff. It's Christopher Walken as Christopher Walken is exactly how you want him to be in a movie, and that's him in here. It's great. There's some really good Walken stuff in here. Honestly, I really recommend this movie. For me, it took a minute to kind of get going, and you got to kind of look past if you find the kind of 90210 feel a little too cheesy. You got to kind of get past that bit, but once it really gets going, this thing is really entertaining and a lot of fun. And there's some pretty sleazy stuff in it. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but there's some fairly sleazy stuff in it. There's a lot of like kind of, and almost, there's some portions of it that kind of remind me of, it was a television show on USA called Silk Stockings. And it was like a thriller cop murder show, but it was a little bit on the risque side. It played it was at night. Like, it didn't play during the day, it was at night. It kind of reminds me of some of that. But yeah, I highly recommend this. Like, I think that this one, for this month's releases of Vinegar Syndrome, I think this one's going to be talked about a lot. I think people are really going to enjoy this. This for me would be an instantly buy. Like, a lot of fun, a lot of great characters. The kid, he's really likable. He's a likable guy. They made him very likable. He's kind of funny at times. He reminds me of somebody, and I can't put my finger on it. But he reminds me of not an actor, but a character in another movie, if that makes sense. But yeah, we get some pretty decent kills in this. This happens in this movie. And definitely when you first start watching this movie, if you know nothing about it, you would never in a million years think that this was going to happen at some point in the film. You do find, if you watch the features, they interview the, hold on, let me see here, I don't remember, cinematographer, I think? Yeah, cinematographer Jeffrey Schaff. He said that they initially it was going to be a TV movie, but the director wanted to put in all the violence and all of the nudity, and it became something they couldn't play on television. And you wouldn't have been at the time that this was made, which I don't even know when this was made. This has definitely got to be late 80s, early 90s. 91. So yeah, 91. They definitely couldn't have put this on television in 91. No way. But yeah, so as for the disc, what we get is an audio commentary with This Hysteria Continues, which I haven't watched yet. But I have heard that it is a really nice, informative commentary. And we get an interview with... Getting old sucks. Interview with... It's the main actor. His name's Charlie Schaefer. It's our main character. He talks about Christopher Walken a lot. Just talks about the movie and talks about working with Joanna Cassidy. It's a really nice little, it's not very long, maybe 15-ish minutes. And then, like I said, we get an interview with the cinematographer, Jeffrey, who talks about working with the director, talks about working with Walken, talks about how Walken has like this very, very dry sense of humor, so much so that people didn't know when he was joking and when he wasn't. So like he would say something and people would just like go silent, and then like there'd be a long pause, and then people would realize, oh, he's joking, and then they'd all laugh, that kind of stuff. So that one's also about the same length, 15-ish minutes. It might be a little bit longer. But two nice interviews. I'm sure the commentary track is really nice. I'll eventually watch it at some point. But yeah, All American Murder from Vinegar Syndrome. It's a winner in my book. It's such a weird movie. The mix of the things that they give you tone wise, like the whole 90210 stuff, and then it gets to be almost like this cop drama, and then kind of violent, sleazy Giallo. It's like all not even melted. It's not really melted. It's like, here's this section, here's this section, here's this section, which makes it such a weird movie, but a lot of fun. So definitely highly recommend it. Their sale's coming up, so I don't know. I know that the new stuff that they put out, typically, like we're getting 2 surprise titles, 2 new VSAs, and then the rest of the stuff they've announced. That stuff won't be on sale, but this might be. They may not do the last month's either. They may not put those on sale. I don't remember. But if they do put these on sale, it'd be a good time to pick it up. And you don't have to get it with the slipcover. That's just if you like them. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. See you next time.